All right, let's talk about something that could genuinely, literally save a life. The huge difference between CPR and an AED. You see these things everywhere, you hear about them all the time, but do we really know what separates them? Let's break it down.
You've heard this a million times, right? Maybe in a movie or just in conversation. Someone collapses and the first thing everyone thinks is, quick, do CPR. That'll restart their heart. It's a really common belief.
But is that actually true? This is one of the most widespread and frankly, one of the most dangerous misconceptions out there. The real answer might surprise you, and today, we're going to set the record straight for good.
Now to really get this, we can't start with the tools, that's jumping ahead. We have to start with the problem itself. So let's dive into part 1, what happens when the heart stops.
The emergency we're talking about is called sudden cardiac arrest, or SCA for short. This isn't a slowdown. It's a sudden, absolutely catastrophic failure of the heart's entire electrical system. And when that happens, it just stops pumping blood the way it should.
And this right here is probably the most important distinction we're going to make. So many of us mix up a heart attack and a sudden cardiac arrest. A heart attack, think of that as a plumbing problem. A pipe, a blood vessel gets clogged. But SCA, that's an electrical problem. The heart's internal wiring goes completely haywire, and the muscle just starts to quiver. It's pure chaos.
So if the body's electrical command center has just totally crashed, what's our first line of defense? Well, that brings us to part 2, the manual override, which you probably know as CPR.
Right, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. When you're doing chest compressions, you are literally becoming the heart for that person. You're a human pump, manually forcing that super important oxygen-rich blood to the brain and all the other organs to keep them alive.
And here it is. This is the single most critical point of this entire explainer. CPR keeps the lights on, but it does not fix the power station. It buys time, precious, vital minutes, by moving blood around. But it does absolutely nothing to fix the electrical chaos that started the problem. It will not restart a heart in sudden cardiac arrest.
Okay, so that obviously brings up a pretty big question, doesn't it? If CPR is just buying time, what in the world actually fixes the problem? And that leads us perfectly into part 3, the system reboot, the AED. Let's just ask it straight up. If CPR is like manually turning the engine over just to keep it from seizing up, what's the thing that actually gets the ignition to fire so it can run on its own again? And here is the answer. The automated external defibrillator. This little box is a genius. It does the one thing CPR can't. It's smart. It actually analyzes the heart's chaotic electrical rhythm, and only if it detects a specific shockable rhythm, it will advise you to deliver a controlled shock. You know, another movie myth is that an AED jump-starts a flatlined heart. That's not how it works at all. A much better way to think about it is like a hard reset on a computer that's completely frozen. That shock actually stops the heart's chaotic quivering for a split second. It just wipes the slate clean, giving the heart's own natural pacemaker a chance to reboot and hopefully take over again with a normal rhythm.
So, we have the manual override and we have the system reboot. Now let's bring it all together. Part 4. 2 tools, 1 goal.
And this is where it all just clicks. Look at the left side. CPR alone. It keeps the system going, protects the brain from damage, buys that critical time. It's essential. But now look at the right. AED plus CPR. That's the winning combination. While one person does CPR to keep the blood flowing, someone else is getting the AED ready to deliver the only thing that can actually fix the root problem and get a normal rhythm back.
Let's use one last analogy just to lock this in your brain. CPR keeps the engine supplied with fuel, preventing catastrophic failure. The AED is what reboots the car's computer that crashed and caused the engine to stall in the first place. You really need both. One without the other just won't get the car started again.
All right, let's wrap this up with our final section, which is really the entire point of what we've been talking about. Part 5, know the difference.
So, what are the key takeaways here? First, CPR's job is to buy time by manually moving blood. That's it. Second, and I'll say it again because it's that important, CPR alone will not restart a heart in sudden cardiac arrest. Third, an AED is the specific tool that's built to fix that electrical chaos. And finally, the big one, putting them together, CPR plus an AED is hands down the most powerful combination we have to save a life. Period. And that's the real bottom line, isn't it? This isn't just trivia. This is knowledge that empowers you to act correctly in a crisis. So the final question I want to leave you with is this. Knowing the difference doesn't just make you smarter. Who could it make you a lifesaver for?